everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'll be showing you the last 5 cards that I created with the April 2020 Simon Says Stamp card kit. So for card 6, you can see I did a lot of die cutting. I die cut some hearts from some of the rainbow pattern paper in the kit, and then some vellum. I won't end up using these vellum hearts, but I will use them on my last card. So I'm taking one of the pattern papers, and I'm going to die cut it from a stitched rectangle. I wanted there to be a little bit of color on the edges, so this pattern paper was perfect. Alright, so here's that panel die cut. I'm going to take the hearts now and just place them onto the panel. You can see I'm going to fuss around with these until I find a layout that I like. And those 2 larger hearts are by Elizabeth Craft. They have some stitching on them, and then the smaller hearts are by Cottage Cuts. I used those in part 1 and I had a few left over. So I decided I'm going to stamp out 2 sentiments into these larger hearts. So I'm just looking through the stamp set and picking out some sentiments that I like. Alright, so I'm going to grab my stamp block and my Versamark ink, and then I'll just stamp those sentiments out, and then I'm going to white heat emboss them with the white powder that came in the kit. So I'm just using my Nuvo spoon here, and I'm just going to use that spoon to sprinkle on some of that embossing powder. Alright, and then I'm just going to heat set that. Now, I do like this white embossing powder, but I still like the Recollections embossing powder more. I just feel like it's more white. But I do like this powder. It's much more fine than the Recollections, but like I said, I don't think it's as white. Alright, so I'm going to add 2 small hearts off to the bottom left corner. I think I pop up both of the larger hearts with foam tape. Nope, actually I glue this one flat with art glitter glue. Now that heart says, "I miss you, friend," so I think this card would be great to send to someone during this whole quarantine, to let them know that you're thinking about them. And I'm not sure what the other heart says. "Thinking of you. You are my rainbow every single day." So that's also very encouraging and perfect to send during these crazy times. So I'm just going to pop up this last heart here. I'll have it overlap that green heart, and then I'm going to grab my card base. I created this purple card base with the cardstock that came in the kit. It is heavyweight, so I liked using it for my card bases. And then just to finish this card, I'm going to sprinkle in a few clear gems by Trinity Stamps. And that's going to finish up card 6. I think this one is really pretty. I love the colors. And you can definitely mass produce this one and sound out a whole bunch of these. Alright, so here's a close-up. Okay, for card 2, I'm going to take one of those coloring panels from the kit. This is the one with the cute couple underneath the umbrella. And just to stick with the rainbow theme of the kit, I decided to color in the umbrella in rainbow colors. So just like I did in part 1, I'm going to use 2 markers per color. I'm going to lay down my darker marker on the top of the umbrella and also on the bottom so that I can have a center highlight. I go over the darker areas with my midtone, and then I leave quite a large white space in the middle. So here I'll show you. I'm going to go over that dark marker with the midtone, and then I leave about half of that umbrella white so that I can use my water brush to pull that color from the edges to the center, and that's going to create my highlight color. That's most of the time what I do with the zigs, so you don't need to use 3 markers like I typically would with a Copic, because that water brush is going to create that highlight color. So coloring with my zigs is a lot faster than coloring with my Copics, and you can get a pretty similar look. And I really like how vibrant the zigs are. I will say the first, I would say like 2 years I had the zigs, I only had the 24 pack, and that pretty much included each color in the rainbow twice. So a dark and a mid-tone like you're seeing here. So I had the 24 pack for at least a year and a half, I'd say, before I upgraded and got the 70 pack. But honestly, I don't even use a lot of the colors in the 70 pack. I probably mostly use the 24 pack, honestly. But yeah, that's the great thing about zigs, is you get that third color with the highlight using your water brush. And the water brush that I'm using is a Wink of Stella brush, and it actually ran out. So what I did was I filled it up with water again, and then I added just a little bit of gold perfect pearls to it. And I'm telling you guys, that is almost exactly the same look as a Wink of Stella pen. And I plan on doing a hack video soon, showing you guys how much of the perfect pearls I add to the water brush, because I will say, like, I haven't bought a Wink of Stella brush in probably a year now that I've discovered this hack, and I haven't seen it anywhere on YouTube, so I would definitely give that a try if you want to, and let me know how you guys like it. So I'm just going to color in this little girl. I colored her hair brown, and when I color hair with the zigs, I flick the marker. So I'll flick the darkest marker, and I'll add the darker areas towards her roots, and then the tips of her hair, I'll again go over it with the mid-tone, but I'm adding flicks instead of lines. And then when I go over it with my water brush, I barely blend it. You want to have those streaks to create the highlights and lowlights in the hair. So I colored her coat yellow and her tights purple. Those are complementary colors, so I figured those would look nice together. At first I thought I wanted this boy to be a blonde, but I felt like his skin tone matched his hair a little too much, so I will go back and make his hair black instead. And I'll add a little bit of navy blue to his hair, just to give it some interesting tones and have it not just look stark black. So here's the black, and then I'm going to take a navy blue, which is very dark. It almost looks black, but there's a little bit of blue in there. So I want to know if you guys have been watching a lot of Netflix or Hulu lately, if you have any suggestions on shows to watch, because I'm looking for shows to watch. I recently binged Tiger King. If anyone has seen that, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I loved it. I was thoroughly entertained. It's basically like the Blackfish version for tigers, plus there's like a twist to it. So if you've seen it, please leave me a comment down below, and also let me know what other shows you recommend to watch during quarantine. Okay, so here's where I kind of regret adding this color. I'm taking that navy blue marker and I scribbled it towards the bottom of their feet and also right above their feet. And I'm going to pull that color upwards to kind of fade out into the white paper. And I did this because I wanted it to look like it was rainy, but I feel like this color was just too dark. And you can see that once it hits the red portions of his shirt and the umbrella, it just bleeds. I don't know what it is about red, but it was only the red color that was bleeding into this blue. So I was getting like a weird purple, and I think I just went over it too many times. I'm making it darker and darker, and maybe that's adding some contrast and helping the characters pop out more, but I don't know. I think it looks too messy, and I'm adding a lot of water here to try to blend that color up, and it started to peel the paper. So if I were to do this again, I probably wouldn't add this dark color and maybe go for a light blue, but I don't think it looks terrible. I just think it's a little messy because it did bleed into the girl's coat and the boy's pants, but it wasn't a huge deal. Once I'm finished blending in that sky, I'm going to take an oval die from my stash and die cut this panel. And then I'm taking these hearts by Trinity Stamps and I'm going to sprinkle them around the couple here. and they're going to act kind of like raindrops. So in the panel, there was already some hearts drawn in as raindrops, and I kind of took inspiration from that and decided to glue on some of these larger enamel hearts. You can use white die cut hearts like I've been using for my other cards, but these are just a little smaller, and I thought they would work really well for this card design. All right, so I'm going to take a piece of the pattern paper. I cut it down to 4 by 5¼ inches, and I'm going to glue my oval over that. I'm actually going to pop it up with double mounted foam tape. I'm gluing it towards the top right, and then I will adhere my sentiment with a single mount of foam tape to the bottom left. And I'm going to add another one of those white enamel hearts to the side of that sentiment. And then I'm going to mat it onto some black cardstock. This is 1/8 of an inch larger. And then I will mat it onto this blue cardstock from the kit. Again, I created this into a card base, and that's going to create a little small blue border around the edge, and that's going to complete my 7th card. Okay, for card 8, I'm going to use those yellow ink cubes that I got in the kit. Now, you're not supposed to get a yellow ink set. You should be getting a rainbow pack. But for some reason, I got these yellow inks, which is fine because I love yellow. But I'm going to use them to create this background. So I took a strip of light yellow cardstock, and then I ink blended some yellow ink with the cloud stencil to create the background. And then I'm going to add some solid clouds with the clouds that are inside the stencil with the orange ink that I got in the yellow ink pack. And then I decided to ink blend another panel. This is some gray cardstock cut to 4 by 5¼ inches. And I'm going to add black soot to the stencil to create a stormy sky. And I'll add the yellow on top. All right, so I'm going to stamp out the girl from the stamp set onto the yellow panel, and I wanted to paper piece her umbrella and her dress. I really love doing this in part 1, so I decided to do it again in part 2. I wanted her umbrella to be shades of red and yellow. And then I wanted her dress, I thought I wanted it to be pink and purple, but you're going to see I'm going to make it a red color. I just love yellow and red together. So I'm going to clear emboss this image. I'm not really adding any clear embossing powder to the dress or the umbrella just because I will be covering that up with the pattern paper. I'm mostly trying to emboss the puddle and the raindrops, and then I'll also emboss her dress and the umbrella. Now, I believe I change her dress, like I said, but I will use that pink and purple dress in another card. So I'll just fussy cut that umbrella and the dress out, and then I'm going to go over the edges of both of those with some black ink just to clean up my cut lines. Here you can see I just stamped out my sentiment to the left of that gray panel. I'm going to color in the word friend with my red Copic markers. And this sentiment says, "Friend, don't lose hope, better days are coming." Again, this is a perfect sentiment to send to anyone during these crazy times. I'm going to clear heat emboss the sentiment just so that everything matches nicely. And you can see on the right of that gray panel, I didn't get the best blending, so that's where I decided to adhere my yellow strip. I'm going to pop up the umbrella and the red dress. I colored her shoes in with red Copic markers. And then I'm going to color her belt in with a N8 marker to make it look black. I'm going to pop up this strip with some foam tape. So I'll just remove the backing on that foam tape and then adhere it right over that gray panel. And then, as usual, I'm going to mat this onto some black cardstock, and I believe I cut that to the size of an A2 card base. I really do like how the black kind of frames that scene in. Alright, so I thought to embellish this card, I would use these boiled sugar heart embellishments by Trinity Stamps. Pretty much all my embellishments at this point are by Trinity. They just offer a really wide variety, and I love that these hearts look like raindrops. And they're a little bit different than the hearts that I've been using for my other cards, which were just die cut white hearts that I colored in with Copic markers. These are clear, so they're a little bit more subtle. And that's going to complete card number 8. I really like this one. This is probably my favorite out of the 10 that I made. Here's a close-up. Okay, for card 9, I'm going to use these Trinity Stamp heart stencils. I'm going to take the largest one and I'm going to adhere it to the back of my card panel. You can see I had one attempt that I failed. So again, there's 2 sides to every sheet of paper, guys. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to ink blend some clouds inside the heart stencil. So it's a stencil within a stencil, guys, which I've never done before, but it worked. Alright, so I ink blended the clouds with some Salty Ocean Distress ink and a Picket Fence Studio blender brush here. And then I decided to add a little bit of yellow from one of the ink cubes that I got in my kit. And I just added that yellow to the top left corner to kind of look like a sun. Now I'm going to stamp out the girl, and she will overlap the heart cloud. And then again, I'm going to paper piece her umbrella and her dress. I just really like how clean the paper piecing looks. So I did use that dress that I cut out from my last card, but I didn't like how the umbrella looked this time, so I'm going to stamp the umbrella onto the red and orange portion of that rainbow. And then I thought maybe I would have a yellow dress, so I also went ahead and stamped out the dress. Again, I'm going to clear emboss those images as well as the image on the ink blended panel. So I'll just heat set everything here, and then off camera I'm going to fussy cut them out. So I did decide to go with that dress I cut out from the last card and then the red umbrella. So I popped those up with foam tape. Now I'm coloring in her belt black again, and then I'm going to give her Louis Vuitton heels. And then I'll color in the puddle with a few of my blue markers. And then I'm going to work on my sentiment. I think I chose "Friend, I'm here for you, rain or shine." Again, I love these encouragement sentiments. And I'm going to stamp that out towards the top of the heart with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This is my favorite ink for stamping out sentiments. Okay, and to embellish this card, I'm going to adhere some yellow, orange, and red hearts. I colored them in to match her umbrella. And again, these were die cut from a Sue Wilson die that just cuts out a bunch of small hearts. And I cut them from white cardstock and colored them in with my Copics. And so I'll just add those around her. I kind of left them in the area where it's raining so that these hearts are just raining on this girl here. I thought that was really cute. So I'm happy with how that panel looks. I will flip it around, add some ATG tape, and adhere it onto this pink card base, which I created with the cardstock that came in the kit. And that will complete my 9th card. I really like this one too. This one can also be one that you can mass produce. Alright, so I was on to card 10 and I had a bunch of scraps left over that I did not want to go to waste. So I'm going to take that Sue Wilson die and die cut all those teeny tiny hearts from those rainbow sheets of cardstock. Now I'm taking another rainbow panel and I'm going to cut some clouds from it. And I'm going to make these clouds into shaker windows, and I thought it would be fun to do something different and have my shaker window be vellum instead of acetate. So I'm going to add some vellum behind this rainbow panel. You can see all of my die cut hearts off to the right here, and those are going to be my shaker bits. So I'm going to stamp out this sentiment. I will white heat emboss it with the white powder that came in the kit. And I'm using that vellum heart that I cut out from card 6. So I really like the look of vellum on vellum. Something very elegant about vellum that I really like. Alright, so I heat set that white powder. and then I'm going to work on my shaker. So I'm taking some double mounted foam tape, and I'm going to add it around all 3 of my clouds. I am closing the foam tape around each cloud, but you don't really have to. I just wanted to add as much foam tape as I could so that it won't squish in the mail. So I'm going to add all of these hearts inside each of the clouds. I had quite a bit just because I die cut out a lot of hearts, and I still have some left over, which I will keep in a little Ziploc bag and use as embellishments like I have been for all of these cards. Okay, so I'm going to take that Thinking of You vellum heart, and I'm going to glue down some of these smaller clouds, which I die cut from that same pattern paper I used for my card panel. I added those clouds to the heart just so that I can add a little bit more glue behind the vellum and hide it. And now I'm going to take those leftover die cut hearts and kind of scatter them around the card panel. You can see I'm going to fuss around with this for quite a while, and then you're going to notice that I'm going to place the larger hearts closer to the sentiment, and then I will have the smaller hearts kind of fade out to the left, and I'm going to use less hearts. Alright, so I like how that looks. I might have added too many. I mean, it might be a little too excessive, but I like it. So I'll just glue all of them down with my art glitter glue. And then I'll flip this panel around, add some ATG tape, and I'm going to adhere it to a white card base. And you did get white cardstock in the kit. I saved that because I feel like it's a nice cardstock for Copic blending, so I want to give that a shot. So I used my own white cardstock for that card. Alright, so that's going to finish all 5 cards. I'm going to show you all the cards that I created in part 1 and part 2 here. Let me know which card was your favorite, and if you haven't yet already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I did just hit 2,500 subscribers, which is so exciting. Thank you guys, and there will be a giveaway coming soon. I'm thinking for 3,000 subscribers. So I know there's a lot of you that watch my videos that don't subscribe. So if you like this content, please subscribe and also hit that like button. It does improve the algorithm for me, and it shows my videos to more people. So yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.